Hi, this is Chris from ChrisJLandry.com. Today's episode, I have a really special guest with me, Desmond Soon. I have an amazing opportunity to interview a phenomenal entrepreneur, internet marketer, and he's came from all the way from Japan to Vancouver City to be here with us in Canada. So I'm very lucky and fortunate to have him here, and I've been watching his blog, and he's a very passionate blogger, and he has a lot of great advice for business owners, anyone who's looking to start a blog or a website, any type of internet marketing advice. This guy's the man to talk to. He's excellent to talk to. Lots of energy. So Desmond, go ahead and just introduce yourself quickly for our show.
Well, thanks so much, Chris. I'm deeply honored and humbled to be on this show of yours, and I really appreciate you taking the time to interview me as well. I really enjoyed that introduction there. Believe it or not, I'm actually a Canadian, so I did grow up in Vancouver, British Columbia, but I found myself traveling to Japan and then getting locked up over there, spending 12 years of my life getting married, having kids, and then being an entrepreneur, not just wanting to settle down for corporate America or corporate Japan or corporate Asia at that time. I found myself getting locked into different businesses where I was able to raise lots of monies, up into the millions of dollars, but also lose a lot of money. I was quite good. I had a skill. I had a knack for seeking investors and seeking angel investors and to get into ventures. But I was also not very good and proficient at the time about running these startups. And so I got myself into a bit of mess. Found myself, my wife and myself, both of us, it wasn't a very good match because both of us were crazy entrepreneurs and having kids at the same time. You need to have someone raise your kids, and so that's what happened was we had kids. We were very happy. We love our kids. We very dear to my heart and to my wife's heart. But both of us are crazy entrepreneurs working like workaholics, and so something had to give. And I ended up taking a step back a bit and having to sacrifice a lot of my dreams, my goals, my passions, my projects to take care of the kids because I felt those were my biggest projects. While my wife had projects that demanded more of her time. So I do not put her down in any way, but she's still doing that. I found myself matriculating back to Vancouver, Canada, which is my hometown, because my father's retiring, and I really honestly don't have any base over here. And being on the internet online, I deal with a lot of English speakers at the moment, though I do have quite a big following in Asia and other parts of the world. Being in North America, time zone differences, things like that, really does make a lot of sense. So that's how I found myself back here. Now, Chris, you are actually we're connected because we knew each other from a private members club in which entrepreneurs gathered together, shared best practices, and I knew you as one of my contacts through another gentleman named Paul Piotrowski as well, who's also a fairly successful veteran blogger, whereas I'm completely new to the industry. So yeah, thanks so much for having me on your show.
No problem. With your recent success with blogging, what is the difference that you can see kind of in your life with the lifestyle that you see in the future for yourself as a blogger versus other industries you've been in previously? What do you feel excited or optimistic about your future? Or?
Oh, terrific. Hey, first of all, here's my disclaimer, guys, okay? You see me in a suit and stuff like that. I'm a single dad. I raise my kids like a single parent, though I'm not divorced. It's just the way my wife and me live separately right now because of our businesses. And that segues into my key point here. If you're an entrepreneur, maybe you're a small business owner, maybe you're a professional, a dentist, a lawyer, a real estate agent. Perhaps you own a brick and mortar business. Maybe you own a couple of restaurants. Guys, I've been there. $1 million worth of personal money and seeking investors. Most people can't even borrow $5,000 from the bank, let alone from a best friend. I raised over $500,000 from personal investors, angel investors, to invest in my restaurants, right? And so the pressure was on for us to make those things succeed. The average break-even point for our restaurants was like $35,000 a month. That's a traditional brick and mortar business. Then I had a daycare. Then I also had a talent booking agency where I was booking famous, I'm talking like AAA star music industry people like Lady Gaga, Pitbull, Little John, Quincy Jones, right? And looking after his entourage and stuff when they come to Tokyo, when they travel to Korea or to other parts of Asia. That was the kind of business I was dealing with. I was dealing in big money. It's extremely stressful, really stressful, right? And the money is really, really big. And so But I'm also a father. I'm also a fatherpreneur because my wife works so much, as I explained earlier on. Something had to give. Someone had. It. I don't know if you've ever been. If you're an entrepreneur, maybe you've had about 10 years on your belt, and you've tried the different businesses out there, whether it be MLM, affiliate marketing, brick and mortar business, opening your own restaurant, your own kiosk, whatever it is, real estate agent, whatever it is not as easy as it seems, and that's why they always talk about the failure rate being so high, the 9 out of 10 failing. Yet what I found was, I was trying to do like some online stuff because I had to stay at home. I raised 2 babies like a mom would, so I respect all moms out there. If you're a mom, you have to give up your career, or if you're a single parent, or even if you're a stay-at-home mom, I highly tip my hat off to all of you, or a stay-at-home dad even. Right? I'm a loudspeaker for all the fatherpreneurs out there. If you are one of those and you are having to raise 2 very young babies, and it just completely goes against everything in your system to put your baby, your brand new baby, a 6-week-old baby, a 3-month-old baby in daycare, then you want to listen a little bit more in this video, because I'm going to share with you some of the stories, my experiences, as well as many of my mentors, and Chris is probably going to elicit some of these answers from me through his questions. But that was my birth. No matter how big my dream was, no matter how much I wanted the Ferraris, and I partied with all the celebrities in Tokyo, trust me, it was like New York parties, the drugs, the sex, the fun, it was really awesome parties. But something in me told me that it was absolutely wrong to put my children in daycare. Now, if you put your children in daycare right now, I'm not putting you down, okay? But and daycare doesn't have to be a bad thing. At a certain age, it's actually okay. But when we're talking like 6 weeks old, when we're talking like 3 months old, when we're talking even under a year old, that's just wrong. I'm sorry if you disagree with me. If you disagree with me, go find something else. Get off this video. For me as a parent, that's just wrong. And I didn't care about what money or business meant. It didn't matter. I just did not want to put my kids that way. That was my choice, my kids. I didn't want to do it. And so, Chris, to answer your question, that's what started me to look online, because I needed, while my wife was crazy and out there, and if she watches this video, I'm sorry, honey, but she knows what I mean. I say it with the utmost love. She needed to do that for the family because she comes from a workaholic business family. She needed to go do that. She needed to, it's not that she wears the pants in the family. Trust me, I wear the pants in the family. But I grew up where my mom was at home. I grew up where there was at least one parent at home. I needed that for my kids. So I needed to find another solution. I knew I was creative enough. As an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter whether I sell water, drugs, like cars, whatever, planes, anything. It could be anything, internet courses, whatever, as long as I could have a commerce, a business, right? And I could give value on an ethical level, on a legal level. Okay, so drugs, I guess, is out of it. Legal level, right? Then fair trade, right? I'm giving you a service of value, and if I get paid for it, then fair game, right? So I needed to find something that could generate income for me, as well as be at home for my kids. That was it. Simple as that. That's what made me get into online. Does that answer your question? And don't mind, by the way, it is the evening now, and I'm wearing a suit, but I'm having a glass of wine. So to all my viewers out there,
that's fine. Yeah, no, that answers my questions, and also like, do you feel like the way your business is set up, do you feel like you're going to have more independence and freedom in like being a blogger instead of like the other industries you've been in? Do you feel like you have that, you know what I mean? Like you can have that feeling instead of being like having to be kind of not yourself sometimes, or you had to be around certain people at certain times. Do you feel that with this?
I totally do.
Blogger, or?
I know what you're talking about, because the corporate America, there's so much, or even let's not even say corporate America, just any kind of thing. Sometimes even in business, when we were like me, my wife, and my wife, our partner, and me, there were many times I really felt I was not myself. I felt I had to be someone that I was not, and it tore. And it was a nagging, uncomfortable feeling on a daily basis. But I constantly pushed it aside. I constantly justified it by thinking, I need to do this for the business. I need to do this because it's what people expect me to do. I need to do this. And so being a blogger, being online, is really good because I get to be more transparent. Disclaimer here, just because I've done it does not mean everyone who's watching this is going to be able to do it. Chris, I'm in the top 2% right? And I know that you are also an aspiring blogger, and I really applaud you. Anyone who's watching this, you really ought to really get in touch with Chris. Seriously, right now. Pause the video, type to Chris on Facebook right now. Okay, I guess if you pause the video, they won't be able to hear me saying this. So don't pause yet until I finish giving you instructions. Once I'm done, then quickly go send him a message and then continue watching this video, okay? Seriously, if you really want to get value out of this video, do that right now. I'm talking to you right now in the camera there. Do it right now, okay? And then after that, come back to the video. Okay, you're done? Great. Fantastic. So let's continue. So contact Chris because he'll help you out. He'll help you to get connected and to figure out what you can do. Maybe you're looking for a second option from your work. No promises. Just like any industry, it's hard. You're going to have to educate yourself. It's like going to your own MBA course. You have to learn. But what I can tell you is, guys, I'm not that great. Chris makes me out to be something great. A year ago, I was stealing diapers from the supermarket. I had the mafia, the Japanese yakuza coming after me, knocking on my door, breaking the windshield on my car, keying my car at 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay, you know, I come home at midnight. I owed them over close to about $100,000 of cash instantly. It wasn't like you owe a mortgage or like student loans. I'm talking like they want $100,000 cash now. If you don't show up with a bag of money like you see in Hollywood movies, fingers get cut off. You disappear. You get beat up. Shit like that happens. And I had 2 young babies, and there was serious stress. I would come home, I would chug a 500 ml of can of beer to take the edge off, and I would literally pass out from exhaustion. And as soon as my mind got enough rest, 4 hours later, I would wake up and I would never be able to go back to sleep. I'd want to vomit and throw up, and I would vomit so much that I almost vomited blood. That's how bad the stress was for me, right? And so while I had all the trappings of being a successful entrepreneur, having the nice office, showing up at the parties, the networking, I was in this much distress and nobody knew about it. I secretly held all this, you know, to look good, to smell good, to show up at all the events, while looking over my shoulder and wondering if the mafia were going to show up and like, you know, do something to embarrass me in public or something. It was that bad, right? So going back, reframing here, guys. I got online because it allowed me, I saw it as a viable option to generate income with a very low threshold, a very low entry level. But just because it's a low entry level do not take advantage of that. Do not discredit it. Do not look down on it. It's a multi-million-dollar business, just like any business. If you want to start up a Starbucks, don't come into this broke. Don't come into this with a lottery ticket mentality, thinking that, oh, I'll just get started for $19.95 and I'll be a millionaire overnight. No, you won't. If you were to start a Starbucks with $19 of capital, you would be able to buy 100 napkins and maybe a couple of coffee beans. That's all you'd be able to buy. Seriously, guys, jokes aside. Be serious about this. If you're seriously looking at getting online and learning how to be a blogger, telling your story, you have a passion story. I've got single moms in my business. I've got people who suffer from cancer and cured their cancer. I've got moms that got kids with cerebral palsy. I've got mentors who've cured themselves of MS. I've had people like myself bankrupt lost everything, having to raise kids, finding wins and finding successes. I'm not rich, guys. I'm not rich. I may dress in a suit. These are the leftovers of what I used to have in Tokyo. I'm still paying off my debts. I was bailed out by one of my best friend's dads, and then I still had to pay him off. I'm still paying him off from the earnings I make online. I'm able to double my income. Let me ask you a question. Right now, whatever your salary is, if you could get half of that salary, so if your salary was $1,000 every 2 weeks, which is actually pretty small. That's pretty like welfare. Okay, let's say $2,500. No, that's a little bit. Okay, $1,500 every week, every 2 weeks. Okay, every 2 weeks, $1,500 every 2 weeks. If you could get half of that, $750, in addition to what you're making right now, would that make your life easier? Chris, what do you think? Would that make your life easier?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, with internet marketing, if you can add a small additional income to what you're making now, doing part time, it's it's actually a huge shift in what, it can make a big difference in someone's life, just that amount. So absolutely make a big difference.
It is, right? And that's what we're doing right now. So I started off that way, guys. I started off so bankrupt, so broke, that I could not even get $25 together. It took me a week to borrow from my friends overseas to put enough money into my credit card, which was overdrawn. So they had to cover the overdrawn first. Then they had to put $25 in for me to sign up, right? And then once I set it up, I took it so seriously because that was the last little bit of a life raft out in the middle of an ocean where I had tsunami waves coming on top of me. That's how I felt. I felt I was about to drown. And there was this tiny little piece of styrofoam that I clung onto that kept me afloat. And so I needed to make it work. That's how desperate my situation was. But the good news is it worked. It worked. I was able to learn from the system that Chris knows, I know, right, and apply it. I didn't expect anyone to spoon feed me. My mentor, who's a self-made millionaire, Matthew Locistro, I could have asked him to borrow the money, but he didn't lend me the money. You know what he said to me? Desmond, you got yourself in this mess. You're going to have to take responsibility for it. Here's what I can do. I can offer you an option, and then what you do with it, I'm going to offer you like a net, is what he basically said, or a fishing line. I'm going to teach you how to fish. Now, how many fish you catch, it's up to you, whether you apply the knowledge or not. And so that's what I did. I took it very hungrily, very desperately, and I actually fished. And I started to learn. And I started to learn from the best mentors. 1 year later, fast forward, I'm now in the top 200 online marketers on the internet. I'm not yet a millionaire because I had to pay off so many debts, right? So anyway, Chris, sorry, I talked too much, buddy. This is your interview. Back to you, buddy.
No, it's you have a very phenomenal past, and it's a very, very interesting life you had, Desmond. What would you give for a piece of advice for someone who has no experience on internet marketing, entrepreneurship, or making money online? What's kind of like one tip that you would give on maybe who's the best people to listen to, or just any quick tip you can give to someone who's kind of curious about this industry and how to actually generate a revenue from the internet?
Okay, fair enough. There's a lot of junk out there. I won't lie to you. There's a lot of junk. There's a lot of spammers. There's a lot of I've spent the last 13, 14 months debunking a lot of the myths out there. There's a lot. I've been myth busting out there, right? So there's a lot of junk out there. You gotta trust your heart, honestly. The reason I joined Matthew Locistro and on this conquest was because I trusted him. He was a self-made millionaire. Then you're going, well, I don't know a self-made millionaire. So what can I do? Well, you can Google my name, right? But I'm kind of busy right now. I've got quite a bit of stuff going on right now. Chris, on the other hand, I know is a rising entrepreneur right now. Who would you want to work with? Would you want to work with Warren Buffett, who's way up here? Yes, he could teach you a lot of stuff, but does he have the time to help you? Probably not. Or would you want to work with, say, an investor or someone who's made $1,000 a month on a regular basis, and then who's fresh in the trenches, who's just learned what to do? But that person who's just made $1,000 a month is connected to another person who's connected to Warren Buffett and who's duplicating what Warren Buffett is doing. Who would you want to learn from? See, because I know a lot of people would say Warren Buffett, but I've seen the evidence. I've seen the results of what happens to those people. They don't get any attention from Warren Buffett. They have to figure everything out themselves. And so in the end, what value does that do for them? Oh, I'm connected to Warren Buffett, but there's nothing. There's no value there. I would be, as a smart entrepreneur, I would connect with a person who's made $1,000 a month recently, because that person can, as it said, if you want to find a mentor, find someone who has been where you have been and who has what you want or has what you're looking for. That's the person who's going to be able to map out for you the most accurate map of what to do. And when that person does it, follow it. Submit your pride, submit your ego, put your questions aside. If they tell you to jump, you jump. If they tell you to invest this, you invest this. If they tell you to do something, you do it. And so what I'm saying here right now is contact Chris. If you're trying to get started, you don't know. Guys, I hate to say this, but so many people come into this with a broke mentality. Oh, well, if I put my $45 down, if I put my $100 down, can you guarantee I'm going to make? There is no guarantees. There is no guarantees in life. If you were to go spend $100,000 to become a doctor, does that guarantee you're going to be a successful doctor? No. The guarantee is up to you, how much effort you put into this and how whether or not you apply the knowledge. There is no guarantees in life. What I can tell you though is that because of the system that we do have training programs out there, the system that Chris uses, the system that I use, we do have a 14-day money back guarantee. I mean, honestly speaking, if you're coming into this thinking that you have a backdoor, then you're not serious. Don't even waste your time. When I did it, there was no backdoor. It was sink or swim. That's why I'm successful. It was sink or swim. I was going to make this work. That's it, period. I needed this as bad as I needed to breathe, otherwise the Yakuza would have made it sure that I would not breathe. That's as serious as it was. I mean, like, I wasn't trying to play around. This wasn't a hobby for me. I needed money to pay off my debts. I needed money as a single parent. I needed money as a husband. It's as simple as that. Forget the Ferraris. Forget the nice houses. Let's just get life basic. I need to pay off credit cards. I needed to just be stable in life. So if that's you, that's my advice to you. Contact Chris. He'll hook you up. Perhaps one day, you know, through if you've proven yourself to be someone who's worthy, you know, that you can follow the basic instructions, then Chris will introduce you directly to me, meet me face to face, you know, and at that time I will shake your hand. I will look at you with a big smile on my face and I'll say, I'm proud of you. I'm really, really proud of you, because I know how hard it is to make those right decisions. When all the temptations and all the naysayers and all the doubt enters your mind, but you made the choice because something in your heart tells you that this is right. I can trust these people. I can trust Chris. I can trust Desmond. There's no bullshit about this guy. He's being very honest and transparent. Chris is being very honest and transparent, right? We're not trying to scam you, right? We're here to help you out. But you got to help yourself. All right, Chris, that's it. That's my points there.
Great. Yeah, no, that was awesome. Well, thank you very much for the interview. If you had one last comment or suggestion to, again, it's the type of people, maybe they're stuck in the corporate world and they're just not sure, they're a little lost, or they're thinking about maybe working online, but they don't know where to start. Any one last final tip before we end the show for tonight?
Okay. Well, I work with all kinds of people, right? I mean, we work with all kinds of people online. Google me, right? If you're watching this for the first time, you met, you know, or you found it through Chris's YouTube or something like that, Google me. Google Chris Landry as well, right? Subscribe to our channel. Post a comment. We love to hear your feedback. This is not just a conversation between Chris and me. Get involved. I mean, we welcome your comments anytime. Please subscribe to, you know, there's a button somewhere around here. Click on it. Subscribe to it. Post a comment below. Send Chris a message on Facebook. You can look me up as well, but if you do look me up and you send me a message on Facebook, please do let me know how you found me or something. Say, hey, Desmond, I found you. I saw the video between you and Chris, and I thought I'd shoot you a message. You know, I mean, I get thousands of requests every day, so I don't know who's coming from where, right? What would I say as a final point? I've worked with business owners. There's doctors, professors from UBC, the local famous university in British Columbia here where we live, and they asked me to help them on the internet. I've got jewelry stores. I've got real estate agents. I've also got people who are interested in making money online, not just branding or SEO or keyword ranking and on Google. Those are my clients. I've also got people who are entrepreneurs who have a story to tell. If you've got a story to tell, if you've got a compelling story, maybe it's more altruistic. Maybe you just want to raise the vibrations of those out there. Maybe you feel passionate about law of attraction, holistic foods, naturopathic methods, curing cancer, against the big pharmaceuticals, something like that. You know, you can resonate with some of the stuff that Chris and myself talk about, a little bit esoteric. Maybe you have a mission. You feel that that there's something more to your life than just what you do. Tell your story. Be passionate. We always have a term. We call it cash in on your passion, or turn your passion into profit is another phrase that we use, right? And you think, well, maybe I'm not famous. Your story is more unique, believe it or not, than anyone else. You're a unique being on this planet. Trust me, you have a story. It would be such a waste if you lived your entire life and died, okay, and you never told your story. Because trust me, with the 7 billion or whatever, 9 billion people on this planet, there is someone out there that could benefit from your story. And that's why Chris and me got into blogging, right, Chris? That's why we got into blogging. It doesn't matter whether or not 100 people read our blogs. If one person, just one person, if you could save that one person from committing suicide, if you could save that one, if you could give hope to that one mom who has a dying child, if you could help that one drug addict quit doing drugs, or an alcoholic, I'm not an alcoholic, I'm just drinking wine, stopping, easing up on the alcohol, whatever. What kind of legacy would you leave on this planet? You don't have to get money from it. Maybe you just wanted to give back. Think of the blessings. If you're a religious, if you believe in God, maybe think of the blessings that you would receive from just giving back to society. It's a different type of charity. Giving someone hope, seeing someone smile. Guys, I'm being moved to tears with this right now. Helping a mom not put her baby in daycare. Just from your story. Stop looking at your life and your problems. Start telling your story, because your story could help someone else. And you may never see the rewards for that. But one day down the road, I'm sure you've seen all the sappy, motivational, tear-jerking, things on YouTube and stuff like that. But one day, you never know. That one child you helped, the one person that read your blog, one day when you're in hospital, one day when you're on your deathbed or something, that person turns out to be the doctor that read your blog, that helps to save your life or something. Who knows, guys? You'd never know how the ripples of your activities can affect the millions of people on this planet. Guys, take massive and immediate action, as Bill Gates would have said on the Larry King Show. If you're watching this right now, we've gone on long enough. I hope you found value in this. Chris, I'm going to pass it back to you in a second. Take massive and immediate action. Something's nagging at you in your heart. You're watching this for a reason. You're in the right place at the right time. I look forward to seeing you.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your very passionate interview. It's wonderful to see someone show so much enthusiasm and real life stuff online. I absolutely love it. And it's more real and raw than I've ever, that you normally see, and it's that's amazing. I'm really glad to have you on my YouTube show. And so I'll just wrap it up here. Thank you very much, Desmond, for joining, and we'll end it. Everyone else, have a great night, and thank you for jumping on in.
I'm proud of you, Chris. Take care, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.